Yes, obviously, you can complete RuneScape as a free-to-play on a free-to-play account without guides. I mean, it's a video game. It would be crazy if you couldn't finish the game without any guides. But I still ask the question because it is slightly harder than you might imagine on the surface. In fact, it's to the point that a speedrun of a brand new account on free-to-play can do every single quest in 2.5 hours. This took me 32.5 hours. So let's jump into the game as somebody who's never played before and start seeing if we can figure out what we're supposed to be doing. Very quickly before we do, if you enjoy this video, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, all that kind of stuff. It really helps out and I really appreciate it. And follow me on Twitch where I live stream all of this stuff. Okay, so let's jump in for real. After doing all of the beginning parts of this game, we get into starting the first quest, Cook's Assistant. And in this quest, all they ask for is a pot of flour, some milk, and also an egg. So we're off to a great start. It's already going very quickly. And so immediately we go and milk a cow. And then let's use the bucket on the cow. Nope, he's attacked my... Okay, he's attacked my cow. Bucket on cow, please. Don't do it. Don't do it. You fuck. Milk the cow. Milk the cow. Milk the cow. Wait, only dairy cow? You're not a dairy... It's a bad start. That's a bad start. These are not dairy cows, as it turns out. Oh, a unicorn. Where are the cows at? Okay, that seems harder than I would have expected. So yeah, very quickly, obviously, the game kind of has some elements to it that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise expect. Having a specific cow that you have to milk as opposed to a regular cow. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm just dumb. But overall, not a big setback. The egg is easy enough by itself. You just pick one up off the ground. And then the pot of flour isn't too bad either. As long as you've got a pot on you, you can grab the wheat outside, put the wheat in the hopper, pull the lever on the hopper, and then collect the flour into the pot. And return to the guy, and boom. First quest completed. Okay, that's not bad going so far. And while we were trying to milk the cow, a character by the name of Losher came over and decided to just give me a whole bunch of gear and things that we might find useful in playing the game as a brand new player. Now, I'd originally decided that I wasn't going to accept any outside help from anybody who was in the stream. I thought that would make the game a little bit less fun. And that's why this is so meaningful. This is not somebody who's ever in my stream. This is someone who has no idea who I am. They saw somebody who was brand new fighting cows and decided that he would share some items to make my life easier. And let me tell you, it did indeed make my life a lot easier. And after finishing the quest, we also got a trade from Peanut. Now, Peanut is somebody from the channel. The thing is, this is the only thing I was willing to accept, and that was energy potions. It gives me back, per sip, 10 run energy. So shout out to Peanut, because that saved us a lot of time. So next, we decide to take on Ernest the Chicken. We run up to this woman outside this building who tells us her fiance went into this creepy building and hasn't come out yet. So we enter the building and start trying to have a look around to try and see where he is and what's happening. After looking around for a little while, we get a little bit lost and then find this basement where we have to do some sort of lever puzzle with doors opening and closing to try and get in to get this oil can. All right, pull this lever. I don't really... What does that do? I'm gonna go through here. I'm gonna go through here. All right, bear with me. Bear with me. Let me pull lever A again. Yeah, that's right. That did absolutely nothing for me. Okay. We pull lever B. I don't even know why I'm down here. Proper lab rat behavior. This is fascinating. Bear with me. Bear with me. This is... You know, I'll just keep pulling levers until I get a reward. And then I'll know how to get the same reward in the future. I've just made things worse for myself. All right, okay. I've only gone and done it. First try. And that basically took like seconds, right? I have come to a blindingly painful conclusion. This hasn't progressed my quest. I do now have an oil can. I have not progressed my quest. Yeah, by this point, I still don't really know what I'm doing with the quest. I just saw a puzzle and finished it. Eventually, we make our way upstairs, and we do speak to the professor, who tells us that Ernest has in fact been polymorphed into a chicken. Here's that chicken over there. What is on his ass? He's got like a jet engine on his ass. And we need to grab him 3 things that will help him fix the machine to revert the guy back. We already have the oil can, so all we need to now find is the tube, which we've found downstairs, and just need the key for, and also some sort of pressure regulator. After getting lost for quite a while because I didn't see a back door. Oh, wait. I guess standing on candles hurts. I guess that makes sense. Oh, I can go out. We ended up finding something like a compost heap where we managed to find a key, which we guessed would be for the door with the rubber tube. And then we also found, later on, after a little bit more looking and a little bit more being lost, a fountain. A fountain that seems to have a pressure regulator in it, or a pressure gauge. It's something like that. After clicking on the fountain a few times and getting injured, I then tried to use everything I could think of in my pockets to try and get something out. Unfortunately, these fish were very bitey and specifically wanted my flesh. I even tried pouring poison that I found in the house in there to no real avail. Eventually, I decided I needed to go up and speak to the professor to try and hopefully find out what it is exactly that I'm supposed to be doing. He had no real extra information for me, but I did spot on the way down there being fish food in the house. Great, that makes a lot of sense. I'll feed the fish, and then they'll be distracted. I can grab the pressure gauge. All is well. Oh. Oh. Can be... Calm. 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 All is not well. All is not well. I then realized that I needed to poison the fish food and kill the fish. So I had to run all the way back inside again, just to come out again with poisoned fish food this time. We won't make that mistake again, because we won't be doing this quest again, because that is it over. And that is a second quest already completed. Wow. Look at the speed. Of course. Oh, 4 quest points, baby. And 300 coins. I'm rich. I'm rich. Next up, we took on a quest at the Wizard's Tower called Imp Catcher. Now, this quest is a bit of a longer quest. It doesn't require much in the way of active effort through a quest line, but you need to be killing imps in the hope for a random drop of 4 separate colored beads. This is one of those things that just takes a little while, especially when you don't know where they spawn. So we took on the quest and didn't really start doing it unless we saw an imp around that we could just go and kill. I then saw a guy and started the Corsair Curse quest, even though I was nowhere near where it actually started. So this is one of the big things that I decided to do that I knew at the time was going to be inconvenient for future me, and now that I am future me, it's very inconvenient for editing. So rather than doing all of the quests in a row, in a line, I decided to just take on whatever quest was near me at any given moment so that I could make progress in whatever area or city I was in. That is super inconvenient for editing. So we're going to be doing a lot of jumping backward and forward just to do this in sort of chronological order of when it was streamed. But just know that I'm mentioning a lot of these things starting, and we will eventually come back to these quests to complete them. So we also then take on the Pirate's Treasure quest, where we need to go and get some rum from a different island called Karamja. Oh, huge. White bead, bro! Oh my god, we got it. So after farming myself up some gold by killing some goblins because I was far too lazy to run back to a bank to get some, we managed to get to Karamja on the boat. While on Karamja, all we needed to do was grab some bananas from a tree, put them in a box, as well as some of this Karamjan rum, so that the customs officer doesn't see that we're exporting it off the island. Committing a little bit of crime already so early into the account. Eventually we get back, and the apron that I picked up earlier on, just by happenstance, turns out to be required to be able to go into the back room of the place, receive the shipment of bananas so we could get our rum and give it to the pirate. He gives us a key and tells us that we need to go to Varrock, to the pub there, so that we can go and open up a chest. So anyway, once we got back to Varrock, we also tried starting some of the other quests that were available here. Demon Slayer was one of them, but she wanted money, and I'm a cheapskate, so I didn't want to start the quest. And then we started the Romeo and Juliet quest. In this quest, we've got Romeo, who doesn't seem to be a particularly intelligent man, trying to be with his one true love, Juliet. I could help find her for you. What does she look like? Oh, would you? That would be great. She has this sort of hair. Hair? Check. And she has these great lips. Lips? Right? Oh, and she has these lovely shoulders as well. Shoulders. Right. So she has hair, lips, and shoulders. That should cut it down a bit. Oh, yes. Juliet is very different. Please, tell her that she's the love of my long... The love of my... Eh? Oh, that she's the love of my long and that I life to be with her. Yeah, I'll tell her that. And after taking a quick detour to go into the inn, where we could do the next part of the previous quest we were doing... Oh, Pog, let's go. Read pirate message. Visit the city of the White Knights. In the park, Saradomin points to the X, which marks the spot. The city of White Knights. I don't know where that'll be. We continue with Romeo and Juliet. This sends us around for a little while, speaking to people, including Juliet and also a priest, where we kind of come to the conclusion that the only thing that we can do to have them be together forever is to have her fake her death. So we go to the apothecary and get making a potion that allows then Juliet to have a drink. She seems dead, and then we can go down and resurrect her. Oh my god, oh no, Juliet has died. You might be more believable if you're not smiling when you say it. Oh yeah, you might be right. Okay, let's try again. Oh no, Juliet has died? A masterclass of acting. Immaculate, yes. This quest took me around 35 minutes. It was a lot of running around, but nothing too difficult. It has some great writing that is really, really funny. And the end of the quest is a bit of a twist. Juliet? Oh dear, you seem to be dead. Hi, Romeo. I'm Philippa. Wow, you're a fox. Man, this boy's got game. It's a shame about Juliet, but perhaps we can meet up later. Who's Juliet? Oh my god. What? You can't seriously tell me that's the ending. I heard Juliet has died. Terrible business. Her cousin and I are getting on well. Thanks for your help. Oh my god. Absolute classic. That... Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. That was incredible. True love conquers all. Where the fuck is this homeless man? And after that, I spent the remainder of this first stream that I did of the game trying to complete Clue Scroll. Now, Clue Scrolls in this game, especially as a free-to-play, I think you only have access to beginner Clue Scrolls. And in Clue Scrolls, you get given a task to try and complete, and if you complete the task, you may have a chance of getting a casket, and the casket will have some rewards in it. My task here was to find a homeless man and see what he needs from us. And what he told me is that he needs a cooked pike. So including trying to find this homeless man in Varrock, I spent around 2.5 hours looking and leveling my fishing and cooking skills to give him a pike. Breastfeeding time. Alright, let's hit level 5 then. Okay. Pike and Clue Scroll. Let's go. Where's my man? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So I've probably, spent almost 4 hours probably leveling my fishing and cooking so I could get this pike to give to this guy, Charlie the Tramp. Charlie, mate, I have for you I ate the pike. I ate the pike. I spent 4 hours getting the pike and I ate the pike. I spent 4 hours getting the pike and I ate the pike. I'm so glad I got a second pike. Let's never do that ever again. Let's never eat the pike ever again. Let's never do that. I've got to walk there now. Oh my god. Let's never ever eat the pike in front of the homeless man who requested a single pike that took me 4 hours of real life time to get. Let's never do that again. I wasn't even missing HP. I wasn't even missing HP. I just wasted I just ate a full cooked pike in front of his face for no benefit to myself. It's the worst moment of my life. Charlie the Tramp. Take the pike. He's giving me a new clue. Oh my god. He's giving me a new clue. Oh my god, he's giving me a clue. He's giving me a new clue. What the fuck is Carpet Ahoy? Yeah, it didn't end so well. And that was the end of day 1. In day 2, we started back in Varrock, and we decided to start Demon Slayer proper this time. It only costed me 1 gold, so I wasn't too upset about it. And after being told that there was a demon kept away by a man named Wally, we found out that he is making his return. Some dark wizards are trying to resurrect him and free him from his chamber. I am the greatest demon slayer ever! After starting it, we immediately left and went elsewhere, because we figured out where the White Knight City was. Here we started a few more quests in Falador, and then went to Rimington to start even more quests. So we started the Knight's Sword, and also Witch's Potion, before heading on the Corsair Curse, the quest that we started in the last stream. Now, this quest took me nearly an hour to make heads and tails of. Again, it's not too complicated, this one. It didn't have me too stuck, but it was a lot of running backwards and forwards. In particular, this quest is about a curse that has apparently befallen a bunch of the crew of a pirate vessel. They found themselves feeling really quite unwell. Each of the individuals feels like they have caused the curse in some way. One of them for stealing a holy relic from the ogres, one of them for upsetting some sort of mermaid, and one of them for finding and fishing a cursed object. After debunking all of these different things, we end up basically coming to the conclusion, after a little bit more effort, that the ship's navigator, who doesn't seem to be having his job for much longer, basically just poisoned everyone and is himself pretending to be sick. After that, we were tasked with killing him, and by soon, I mean immediately realized maybe I had bitten off more than I could chew. And we ended up having to leave and come back probably about a week later in real life time when I finally had the stats to be able to beat the guy. And so with that, we decided to head all the way back to Varrock so that we could go and try complete Demon Slayer. This quest requires us to get 3 keys. One from Sir Prison, or rather Sir Prison, who seems to have lost his key somewhere in the sewers, which we have to go and find. One from a wizard that we need to give 20 bones to, which was just so inconvenient. And one from a guy who really just hates Sir Prison and doesn't mind giving it to us for little effort. In fact, no effort at all. He really does not like the guy. I did actually die fighting some wizards trying to get some bones, and it turns out the key that you get gets destroyed, and then you have to go and speak to the guy again to get it back. That was a lesson kind of hard learned. So, after collecting all of these keys, we could get access to the weapon required, Silverlight, to be able to kill the demon. It took me a good couple of attempts, and using the gear that we were given right at the beginning of my account by that guy, to be able to successfully beat the demon. But beat the demon we did. We said the words needed to be said to cast him back into his domain, and that was another quest completed. And so that was the end of day 2. And on day 3, we decided to start with Shield of Arrav. Actually, what I started with was mining for a pretty significant period of time, like 40 minutes straight of mining. It took ages because I needed to get my levels up as they were required for some of the other quests. But for the actual quest itself, it turns out that the Shield of Arrav, which was a shield belonging to a man named Arrav, considered a relic now of a time gone, has been lost to the city. Each half of the shield is owned by rivaling gangs, the Phoenix Gang and the Black Arm Gang. Now, I started with the Black Arm Gang because they were the easiest for me to find, and I think I ended up joining the Phoenix Gang by accident. I don't really know how it happened, but as I progressed the quest, it turns out that this is one of the very few quests in the entire game that actually requires outside cooperation with other players. So what I do for my half of the quest is I go and kill a guy in the pub. I get a key to a storeroom with some crossbows. I go and take a crossbow and I have to give it to somebody else. And that allows them to do their part of the quest, and then I can get the half of the shield I need from them. So you could only actually join one of the gangs on your account, and you need somebody from the other gang to be able to give you the other half to the shield. That is obviously very inconvenient when you're trying to not communicate with people. So I very luckily had somebody from my chat come in who was part of the other gang so that they could complete the quest with me. That meant that there was no risk of me accidentally finding out more information about the quest than I would like to know, because I don't want to find out anything that I haven't personally figured out or learned myself. It may seem kind of insane to say, this is by far one of the hardest quests in the entire game, because you need to communicate with another human being. Human interaction? In my MMO? Well, I don't think so. Yay! Woohoo! We did it! We did all that for 600 coins and no skill increases. Fantastic. Moving on, we head west near Falador and speak to Doric, who basically just asks us for some clay, copper, and iron. Now, this is something where you can very quickly, if you know what you're doing for these quests, if you have the Quest Helper plugin, or you use the wiki to know what you need to be doing, you could absolutely bring everything with you to him immediately and instantly finish the quest. However, once again, I don't know any of this stuff, so I have to then go and figure out where to get each of these things, and then also bring them to him. And so I decided that while I was in Falador, I might as well try and have a look for the treasure that was part of the earlier Pirate's Treasure quest. It took me around 40 minutes of digging randomly to try and find this item. You see, the treasure was supposed to be pointed at by a statue. I was at the wrong statue for a really significant length of time. Oh, that's not the park. Oh! It's... Oh! Oh! I'm missing the forest for the trees. I was even trying to do some sort of weird triangulation with screenshots to try and figure it out. Okay, what about, is there an X? Is the ground shaped like an X? Because I'm thinking, he's like, wow, that's north. So that's like, oh, it's more like, it crosses over 265 degrees. It crosses over, hang on a minute. Let's be logistical about this, right? This is north. We're facing north right now. So 265 degrees, it's like that. Sort of. More like, kind of like that. And he is pointing it like this. So X should mark the spot in the doorway to this build. That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right. Eventually, I saw what I was supposed to be doing, and we did end up completing that quest. I clicked off of it! I clicked off of it, we did it! It was right here. It was right there the whole time. That allowed me to move on, go and grab the things I needed for Doric, and then go and finish his quest as well. Now, near Doric's hut, there's also the Goblin Diplomacy quest. So we begin that. In this quest, basically, there are two high-ranking members of the goblins who just do not get along, and they're trying to decide what color they should make their tunics for war. All this quest really requires is that you get goblin mail and also some dyes for clothes. The problem is they only tell you one at a time which color they want to see next, and that means you got to do a lot of running back and forth before being able to finish this quest. From there, I moved to Below Ice Mountain, starting that quest as well, which basically sent us all over the available area in the game to find specific individuals who we need to entice into doing one last job. A job that, for some reason, our character's understanding is completely legal, despite it being very clearly not. After speaking to one of the guys who's available in Falador, Wales your servant, Asgarnian Ale, Wizard's Mind Bomb, and Dwarven Stout, all for only 3 coins. Let's just get all 3 beers. He took the Asgarnian one. We end up going all the way back to Lumbridge. Here we began both of the quests that were available in the near area, which was the Restless Ghost and Misthalin Mystery. We ended up putting the Restless Ghost kind of on the back burner for a moment as we approached Misthalin Mystery. Wait a minute. This looks exactly like the other place. Who's this guy? Oh, do I need like an axe? I might need an axe for this. Let's go back. I think that's the shack. I think that's the 7 foot tall, 7 foot 2 perhaps, basketball player. Oh, never mind. Nothing to do with that. Not the right shack. Father Eric sent me to speak to you. There's a ghost haunting his graveyard. Tell you what I can do though. Take this amulet. It's an amulet of ghost speak. Ooh. Hello, ghost. How are you? Not very good, actually. I should think it's probably because a warlock has come along and stolen my skull. I think it was one of the warlocks who lives in the big tower by the sea southwest from here. This quest took me over an hour and was actually really quite fun, though it did have some kind of puzzling things that got me a bit lost for decent periods of time. Especially the kind of final boss fight, which was kind of tough for my tiny brain. I hate this so much. This is one of the worst experiences of my entire life. Still though, it was actually a very fun quest, and I enjoyed it being sort of self-contained on this island. And that was the end of day 3. So, moving on to day 4, we went on to the Barbarian Village just outside of Varrock to try and get one of the guys required for the Below Ice Mountain quest. Here, he requests that we are able to flex our big muscles in front of him And to do that, we need to get trained. So we have a fun training montage so we can get big. We flex on him, and then he agrees to join us. And from there, I go to Edgeville to get the final guy required for this quest, and all he asks is for a steak sandwich. Surely that can't be that hard. And ultimately, it wasn't too bad. And we ended up putting it on the back burner for a little while as I got distracted, decided to start training magic, which really ultimately wasn't too bad, since it's actually really good damage, especially early in the game, and also it lets you teleport once you get high enough level. So after that slight detour, we go to the pub where you're supposed to be able to get a steak sandwich, and he tells us that he's not going to make one for this guy. He tells us how to, and we decide to go ahead and head our way to Draenor, because we're going to need some pots of flour to make the bread required for the quest. Here I get distracted because I find the place where you can get dyes. This woman Aggie here tells us not only how to get access to the dyes, which requires certain things to be brought to her, but she also tells us where to find those things, and that makes life a lot easier. It's also very helpful because she tells us where to find red berries, which was something I didn't know where to find, and they're required for a different quest. Now, one of the things Aggie tells us is to go near the sheep field, and at the sheep field is another quest. And here I took on that one too, where I had to shear some sheep, shear some sheep, and then turn that wool into balls of wool at the loom, which I'd remembered seeing in Lumbridge. And once we got to Lumbridge, I made sure to bring some meat with me that we could cook up along with some bread so that we could make the steak sandwich. Kind of knocking off two things at once. So with sheep shearer completed here, we went and decided to get the red berries, which I decided to buy from the shop rather than grabbing from a field because it was a lot further away to run to Varrock. This was slightly inconvenient as I had to hop worlds, but you know what, it worked out fine. Until I found out how much you were required for a single dye, and that made things a little bit also inconvenient. But at least it let us make a single one of the goblin males into an orange male. After having done that, we then headed back to Edgeville, where the below ice mountain guy was, to give him his steak sandwich, and that meant our quest was ready to carry on, but we decided that we go to the goblin village anyway with the orange male before continuing on any other quest. Immediately we find out that we actually need to do another color. Yeah, they want blue armor now. Okay, well that's fine. At least we're right by below ice mountain, so maybe we can continue that quest. So we head up, we get a cool cutscene, and we get shock horror, betrayed. What a surprise. Anyway, I brought some armor so that we'd be prepared for a fight that I was expecting to have, and we had to fight this large ancient guardian, which, well, I didn't do so well. And then I decided that maybe it would be time to see if it's possible to cheese. So one of the few things that I was aware of coming into this game is that it is ultimately quite janky. It's an old game, and it was kind of built by not very many people. And so it turns out, and I found very luckily, very quickly, that if you stand by the door and you shoot magic at the Guardian, it cannot hurt you, because it can only hit in melee range, and it's too big to fit through the area where I was standing, which was super convenient and let us finish this quest a lot earlier than I otherwise would have been able to, because he would have beat me up pretty hard. And that let us complete Below Ice Mountain, unlocking an entire area that you can train in and get some uniques in, which I didn't really end up bothering doing because it's not part of the quests. But still a very cool area nonetheless. Now, coming out from there, I decided to pick up the final quest in Falador, which was Black Knight's Fortress, and that is where we ended day 4. So at the beginning of day 5, we have already finally got access to 3 of the 4 different beads that we need. As I've just been killing imps here and there, which I'm not typically showing in the video because it's kind of a pain to go through all the footage, but safe to say, they're pretty easy to get, you just gotta kill a lot of them. It's complete luck of the draw whether you get one of the beads that you need or one that you don't. Now this partly comes into the pseudo Iron Man that we planned out for this playthrough. You see, the thing is, you can actually buy these beads and sell them on the Grand Exchange, and it would cost you only a few thousand gold to get this quest done pretty much immediately. However, I thought that was a little bit cheesy, and I decided that if I'm going to do these quests, I'm going to suffer in the process. And so we ended up having to kill quite a number of imps to get access to the specific color beads that we needed. Good lord. Yellow bead! So, after talking about those beads there, what we ended up doing on day 5 is we started to get some more red berries, because now we knew where they were because we were told by the woman, Aggie, who does the dyes. That's obviously going to be very helpful so we can make the pie, so that we can give it to the Encandled Dwarf to continue that quest. We also, while in Draenor, ended up starting the Vampire Slayer quest, which is also back into Draenor Manor once again, for I think the third time. And it was here we actually did complete as well the Witch's Potion, giving us some magic XP and only requiring about 3 items or 4 items that weren't too hard to get. Some burnt meat, I think a rat's tail, an eye of newt, and an onion, I think. Can't imagine that's a particularly tasty concoction, but we drink it down for the XP. And from there, we take our successfully created magic pie over to the Encandled Dwarf, who lets us progress the quest, requiring access to a specific kind of ore. So as part of the Knight's Sword, I did need to get my level a little bit higher in my smithing, and so we did have to basically just do a bunch of running back and forth, smelting some ore that I had got in mind. We made the ingots in Falador and then used Doric's anvil to be able to make some sort of weaponry or armor that would increase our level with a bit higher XP rates, so it's a good thing we did his quest a little bit earlier on, which took me an hour and 20 minutes of back and forth running, mining, and smithing. So it was not a short effort, but it was necessary for the quest. We also, while we were here, got some woad leaves, which were required to make the blue dye for the Goblin Diplomacy quest. So we bring the 2 iron ingots that are required for this quest with us down to the Encandled Dwarf, and then we head into a dungeon near his home that allows us to mine some blue-rite ore. A very specific ore only really used for this sword as part of this quest, and I think a blue-rite crossbow, though I'm pretty sure nobody uses those. Now, the dungeon is a little bit dangerous, but we managed to get in there, get the ore that we needed, and get out pretty safely. And so the sword was made. Yes! Yes! We have the sword, and so we get to go and hand it back in and complete the quest. Not too shabby. 12,500 smithing XP? 31?! Oh my god! We then moved on to the Mage's Tower with the 4 beads in our inventory and went ahead and also gave them over to finish that quest too. And while we were at the Mage's Tower, we continued on with one of the other quests we picked up a couple days before, which required us to find a skull in the basement of the Wizard's Tower, which was protected by some sort of skeleton. Not too difficult, and that allowed us to go back and complete the Restless Ghost. Release! Thank you, stranger. Ooh. Oh, he just threw himself into the water. Excellent. Oh, 1100 prayer XP and the Ghost Speak Amulet. So since we were in Lumbridge anyway, we started the X Marks the Spot quest. That has given us kind of like a clue scroll as we've done before, telling us a location which we need to dig to find an item. We dig there and we find some sort of weird orb. After having found that, we decided to also start the Rune Mysteries quest, which is also here, which took us to the Wizard's Tower, where we started being told about how runes work, which is required for magic. So as we head back to Veos for the X Marks the Spot quest to continue that in Port Sarim, we end up going through Draenor, and while we're there, we give the woad leaves and some money to Aggie to make some blue dye for us, which is required for the Goblin quest. You see how we're doing a lot of jumping around each different quest as is convenient. So after getting the blue dye, we speak to Veos in the hopes that he can tell us a little bit more efficiently how to do this quest. Yeah, he's not helpful at all. It basically just says warmer or colder whenever you use the orb, and you just keep pressing it until you find the location in which to dig. So after that, we go straight to the Goblin village with the blue dye, the Goblin mail to give them blue mail. And so after giving the goblins blue armor, they also told me they didn't want that either. What they wanted was brown armor, which is the basic color of armor they started with. Well, the quest's done. It didn't take us long to get some brown armor from one of the crates that was easily available, so that was totally quick, and that was a quest completed. Now, from here, I got a little bit distracted and started killing some weird mages of Zamorak who couldn't really hurt me from afar. That let me start training my magic a little bit up, and also had quite a nice expensive drop of the Zamorak Monk Bottom, which was kind of, at that point, our best in slot, best bonus to our magic gear. So killing them made me a bit of a profit, while also letting me train my mage for a while. +3 prayer, +2 magic attack, and +3 magic defense. Oh my god. It's a huge upgrade. After training for just a little bit, we went back to the Black Knight's Fortress quest, which required us to get a couple of pieces of gear, an iron chain body, and a bronze helmet that would allow us to sneak our way into the Black Knight's Fortress. Here, after having to have a bit of a run around for a while, like some sort of Scooby-Doo character, we found our way into a secret spot to listen in on the bad guys. We find out they have some sort of secret weapon coming, and the only way for us to foil their plan is to drop a cabbage into the cauldron. Specifically Specifically, it has to be a non-Draenor manor cabbage. I have both kinds in my bank, and so I needed to figure out which one was the correct one. So we run away, grab ourselves a correct cabbage, which, believe it or not, there is actually a difference between the two of them. Draenor one gives you a defense bonus as well as the hit point. But anyway, we have to go a different route this time. We find our way into a room that just has a big hole in the ceiling, and we drop the cabbage in. And that pretty much completes the quest. So back to Falador Castle to turn in the quest. All right, another quest down. We love to see it. So we end up finally going back to the Corsair Curse, a quest we started so long ago now, but I'm finally strong enough to take on my enemy, and take him on I do. He was still pretty strong, but I was stronger, and we killed him to finish the quest. And that put us on to, I think, at this point, one of the final quests in the game. And so we began Dragon Slayer 1. Now, Dragon Slayer 1 is by far the longest and most complicated quest in the free-to-play game, and requires quite a lot of moving parts to figure out what to do, and it does not explain it to you very well in the slightest. Now, since we started Dragon Slayer 1 and we were trying to figure out what to do, we ended up moving on to finish Rune Mysteries, since we were practically at the end of that quest as well. And after doing some digging and following along with the orb that was telling us where to go, we found the treasure that was required and brought it back to Veos to complete X Marks the Spot as well. And that ended day 5. So, stream 6. We begin with Vampire Slayer. We do this very fast. We get in there, we go and kill the vampire, and that's the quest done. Really as simple as that. At this point, we were in a very decent spot to be able to do combat. It wasn't too difficult to kill him. And that maybe gave me a little bit too much confidence for being able to do Dragon Slayer, but we'll worry about that later. And so we spent a vast majority of this stream, around 4 hours in fact, doing as much of this quest as I can figure out how to do. Getting stuck in different parts and getting confused, but making some, I think, pretty significant progress in the meantime. Also, Port Sarim. So Port Sarim's right here. You know what? I'll take some cash with me. In fact, I'll take most of my cash with me. In fact, I won't do that. I'll take $400 with me. So, are you interested in buying a ship? How does 2 grand say? I'm not paying that much for a broken boat. That's fair enough, I suppose. Let's buy a ship. Man, I can't believe I'm investing in an asset already. Free to play, and I'm gonna have an asset. That's crazy. Depreciating pretty significantly because it is in fact a boat, and everyone knows you never purchase a boat. You like rent it or whatever. What's the bet he's gonna ask me to repair the ship? How does 2 grand sound? Sounds good to me. Okie dokie. She's all yours. Well, the big gaping hole in the hold is the problem. You'll need a few wooden planks hammered in with steel nails to fix it. Ah. $1,000. And I got some logs somewhere, surely. Now, I don't know if it'd be possible to do it today. I think I may have underestimated how long this quest is going to take us to do. Like, even just so far, we have like 3 map pieces to get. I got none of them yet. You know, economy type shit. Oh, can't do that apparently. Are you shitting me? Is there no way into this without an agility? Where the hell do I get planks from? I seek a piece of the map of the island of Crandor. Classic oracles, bro. They can't just tell you things. They just do this for fun. First, a drink used by a mage. Next, some worm string changed to sheet. Then, a small crustacean cage. Last, a bowl that's not seen. Eat. I don't know what the fuck any of that means. And at this point, we are nowhere near done this quest. And that ended stream 6. Stream 7, we decided to begin with Prince Ali Rescue. It was actually the only other quest that I had just completely ignored. It's set in an area called Al-Kharid, which we've had no other reason to go into at all until this point. But now that we were here anyway, at the end of the last day, we might as well begin this one. And so we did Prince Ali Rescue. This quest took about 45 minutes. It wasn't too long. It was a bit of running back and forth to Draenor, and then all the way back to Al-Kharid, and then back and forth a couple times, but it wasn't too difficult and didn't have us too stumped for too long. We then spent the rest of the time doing a little bit of trading to make a little bit of money, so we would make sure we have runes, and also some of the other stats that would be required for completing the Dragon Slayer 1 quest. And so after doing that for most of the evening, we then finished stream 7, and then we start on our final stream, stream number 8. 5 more hours of dedicated time doing just this quest. We started off by having to do some smithing. In fact, we spent 2 hours doing more smithing. You see, it's one of the things that actually stumped me for quite a long time in this quest. There were certain nails that were required for the quest. We needed to fix up a ship that we bought, and it required nails. And so this is one of those things that really comes up quite often with RuneScape, especially the older quests. You see, back in 2001, there was no such thing as a construction skill, meaning that the only nails in the game at the time were steel nails. The game does not tell you this. There is no way to find that out unless you look it up somewhere online. As a result, what I am seeing is that when I look at the things that I can smelt, especially at the earlier levels, I don't have access to nails. It's a members only smithing item. And so it put me in a very, very confused spot. After having a look at the quest requirements and seeing that there was a certain level of smithing required, I did finally realize that steel nails are the only thing nail-wise that are available for free-to-play players to make. A plate body, an iron plate body. Yay! 34! Let's go! And now we can make a set of steel nails. That is massive for the account. Everything's changed. Beyond that, we also had a problem with finding planks. So planks were also required to fix the ship. The problem is, the obvious way to get planks would be to take some logs of wood to a guy that would process them into planks. There's one of those right near Varrock. Perfect. Easy, no problem. Solved. Except, not quite. You see, the thing is, that's members only. You cannot turn the logs into planks unless you are a member at that location. That's not good. So how am I exactly supposed to do that? Well, I can buy them off the Grand Exchange, except that goes against my rule set. I can't do that. So how do I get planks? So I ran around for a while, killing random enemies, hoping that they would drop them, looking around in areas that I thought it could be. Eventually, I came to a conclusion that it might be in the wilderness. Now, for those who don't know, the wilderness is a part of the game where other players can kill you. It is a PKing zone. It's this entire area that you can run around in that is really quite stressful when you don't know what you're doing, like me. So I ran into the wilderness to have a look around, despite not really wanting to go in there, and that's why I hadn't been in there at all for the entire 30 plus hours that I'd been playing for. I finally decided that it was time to go in there and have a look around and see if maybe there are planks or certain enemies up there that I can kill that will drop them. And we got very lucky and pretty much immediately found a place where planks are just a spawn on the ground. That could have been really bad. Planks! Plank! 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 Yes! No! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! Don't do it! So we go to the ship with our planks and our nails, and we go and fix it. Except we don't. You see, the problem is, there's a certain number of nails that you require, that the quest does not tell you that you require to be able to repair the ship. That kind of drove me insane, but fine. I locked in, whatever. We can do it. At least I know what I have to do. What? 30 nails? What, is my ship gonna be more steel than wood? 30 fucking nails? Why wouldn't you tell me that? Why would you tell me wooden planks and steel nails and then give me nails in increments of 15 and not tell me that I need 30 nails? I hate to crash out. I hate to crash out. I hate to do it. But now I have to go back and I have to get some coal, and then I have to get some iron, and then I have to make a steel bar, and then I have to go to a separate location from where I made the steel bar to be able to make the steel bar into the nails so that I can then make the nails into the ship. Anyway, now that I've crashed out for a moment, I feel a lot better and I'm ready to resume the grind. I love RuneScape. I love the grind. Don't you dare. Why wouldn't you tell me how many fucking wooden planks I need? I don't know if I need 60 more or 120 more. Who puts 30 nails on a plank? This fucking guy, apparently. I need 30 per plank. The wooden board is stopping the leak, right? The leak is no more. The leak is no more. And the hole is also no more. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. And then, after placing that, I proceed to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, fucking 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 nails into this fucking board of wood? Why do I need that many nails? Just tell me to go and make 70 nails, and I'll just fill the hole with nails. I'm losing my mind. I'm gonna go kill Wormbrain as punishment. Idiot. Stupid idiot. Stupid asshole. Fuck you. Stupid idiot. Fine now. Fucking bitch. Alright, I swear if it only needs one more, I'm gonna be so sad. Repair hole. Yes, I knew it. It comes in threes. Everything comes in threes. Yes. The ship is seaworthy. Cabin boy, I fixed it. So anyway, we managed to get all of the planks on the ship, and now it's up and running, ready for us to go once we figure out how to get where we're going, which has been a key component of the quest so far. One of the pieces is contained within a sealed location that you need to complete the puzzle to be able to enter. Now, some of the requirements are stuff I figured out pretty quickly. They weren't too difficult to understand. But one of them in particular was really hard, and it was a drink that a wizard would have. Now, I had no idea what that could possibly mean. What do you mean a drink that specifically a wizard would have? Why would only they have it? It took me a very long time to think about any of the possible things that it could be. And then I decided I might as well try the wine of Zamorak. I mean, that's the thing I picked up where there were some kind of like priest mage guys blocking it. That was the best in slot gear for me, so maybe for some reason the wine of Zamorak's right. We have 2 pieces of the map. What do we need that is a drink for wizards? So I do have the Zamorak wine. You know what? I fucking remember. I bought... So that guy for the Below Ice Mountain quest wants a drink. And they sold 3 drinks. And I remember thinking to myself and saying out loud, I'm going to buy all of these drinks and have one spare in case it comes up in the future. You fucking beauty. You fucking beauty. Oh my god. There's no way. I type in Za. The Za and Wizard. There's no way. Oh my god. That's incredible. What an insane stroke of luck. I am actually genuinely not convinced that I would have figured this out if I hadn't have just purchased these earlier. I was thanking my past self for being such a genius because Wizard Mind Bomb was definitely the right drink. I am not drinking this. I am not drinking it. There's no way I'm making that mistake right now. Please, this has to be right. Yes! Yes! Oh my god! I used the map piece on the other map piece to put all 3 pieces together and assemble a map that shows the route through the reefs to Crandor. That door required a drink from a pub. What if they changed the ingredients? Would it still be a wizard's mind bomb? So with the map in hand and the ship ready to go, we head to Crandor Island. And it's here that we must face off against Elvarg, the dragon. So with Dragonfire Shield in hand and Fire Staff in the other, we face her. I am definitely under-leveled for this fight. That shows because I die very quickly. So after dying to Elvarg, I panicked. I'd already done what felt like a lot of damage to it, and I didn't want for it to recover by the time I got back. So, you know, I worked hard really quickly to get some planks and some steel nails. Will me buying the steel nails from the Grand Exchange end up in the video? Of course not. I control the narrative. I'll make sure it never sees the light of day. And went back and fixed the ship up one more time to be able to go ahead and get back to fighting Elvarg. Now, here's something really strange. We get back, and Elvarg is a lot lower HP than I was expecting, and I wasn't really sure why. But anyway, here I am. I kill Elvarg and take the head. It's here where it occurs to me, I might have just stolen this guy's kill. You see, this guy was standing in here, seemingly fighting something that I couldn't see as well. And judging by the fact that it was lower on HP, it makes me think that he was the one that did the majority of damage to it. I came in, stole his kill, tried trading with the guy, because I wanted to give him a celebratory fish, before realizing that he was fighting something that I could not see. I respawned Elvarg at full health. I stole this guy's kill and then tried to trade with him. I must have seemed like a villain to this man, but he was my hero because that meant that Dragon Slayer 1 was completed. Heaps of XP, access to rune plate body from this shop, and also green D-hide armor. Now, these are really important upgrades for any account to have access to, just by sheer virtue of completing what is the hardest quest in the original run of quests in this game. And so we decided to break out some of the money that we'd been given by other people to be used once we'd finished the game and purchase these items. And just after we purchased those items, the guy that we managed to steal the kill from came back and clearly finished the quest himself. And after explaining to him that I wanted to give him a celebratory fish, but that I didn't have it anymore, he decided to give me a swordfish and a potion. What a Chad. I stole this guy's kill, didn't give him a fish that I promised him, and got gifted a fish instead. After all of that and a very cooked ending to this quest and to this entire run, I tried to put on my armor, and, well, I couldn't. I don't have the defense level for it. On my rune plate, I can't wear my rune plate body. I want to throw on my green D. I can't throw on my green. Okay. Fuck's sake. Nothing's going the way I'm intending it to go. And so that's the end. 32.5 hours to do every free-to-play quest in old school RuneScape as a free-to-play with no guides and no knowledge of how the game works. This was such an incredibly fun thing to do. I had a great time figuring out the quests, figuring out what I was supposed to do, and figuring out how to play the game. I really do feel like this is probably the best way, the most engaging way, and the most fun way to access quests like this. A lot of people go into these quests and they use guides or they use the quest helper because they don't really want to do the quests, they just want the rewards and to progress their account quickly. And while that's totally understandable for a lot of people, I think you do miss out on the chance to have some really good fun that you can really only appreciate one time. Because if you finish the quest by using a helper, you can never really go back and do it for the first time. I had so much fun, in fact, that I ended up playing the game as a paid member and doing every quest afterwards without guides. I've been doing this for nearly a year now, and I'm still not done. There are so many quests, and they take so long to complete sometimes. But I've been having such an incredible time, and I love this game with all of my heart. I've gone from somebody who had no interest in playing RuneScape to somebody who really dearly loves it and has had a great experience playing it. So yeah, I highly recommend that you give this game a shot. You can even do it as a free-to-play, so there's no real cost coming at it. You just need to be able to get over it, kind of how old the game looks. Now, if you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did making it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. See you next time.